Welcome back, everybody. This is Brother Meat here. I have recently received 2 requests to actually turn the sound down, specifically for the music. So let's actually get into that first, shall we? Let's see, sound. Wow, still 50 is just too high. Let's turn this down to 20. It's a shame too. We're going to turn this down a little bit as well. Master volume 40, ambient volume to 40 as well. I still keep the voice volume high. I want to hear the characters talk, and I usually shut up when they talk. Usually, so that helps. And I definitely want to hear my magic chants and my user interface volume because that actually helps. Save those. All right, let's get into it here. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so here we are. I'm Brother Mutant, and today we're going to continue on our quest to explore this beta release of this amazing game, Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous. Let's look at what we have here. We just entered Neath-Home. We are, I've paused the game here. We are level 2, level 1, level 2, way back at level 1. And the reason that these guys are so low is we have shut off an XP share function. For those of you that don't know, in Pathfinder Kingmaker, they had the same ability. 2 clickable things in your options settings. One, where only the person who does the skill, like for example, if someone like this person did an athletics check that garnered XP, they're the only one that gets the XP. Which we would actually have done that in tabletop setting, I think. So it's one of those where that makes sense to me. And I usually make myself the big smarty pants of the team. Usually have a high enough intelligence that I have trickery, for example, so I can pick a lock, and usually that's a good way of getting some cheap XP early on to juice yourself up a little bit, get yourself to level 2, maybe even level 3, a little before everybody else. The other toggle or the clickable that you have in your options setting is one that literally is only people on the team, like you're seeing right now, these 5 people that are on the team get XP. And I know that seems counterintuitive, like of course they're the ones that get the XP, who else would? Well, when you finally get to a team of 7, 8, 9 people where you can only take 6 of you along, the 3 or so that are left behind also would get XP if you shut that off. So if you turn that on, a sub team, a team that's 6 or less, those are the only people really that are getting the XP. Obviously, 6 is a waste. And let me explain how this works real quick for people that are interested in this sort of thing. Because again, to min-max or to have yourself a mercenary team, for example, which I don't even know exists in this game, you can actually have yourself a pretty goddamn good core team of like 5 or less and really get a lot of XP out of it to the point where you can actually get to level 20 probably by the end of the game, way before anybody else. And here's why that works. If it's a team of 6 or more, what that means is the team is 6 and you have more people waiting in your base, and you have that ability unclicked, where it literally is everyone gets the same amount of XP. The XP number that you're seeing up here, without fail, would be the same number for everybody, even people back in the base. Okay, if it's only a team of 6 and there's no one else back in the base, again, everyone's going to have the same XP. It doesn't get better or lessened, I should say, by the people that are at your base. So if this team of say 5 or 6 or 2 or whatever had that thing off where everyone gets the same amount of XP, the team of 2 could have, let's say, go back to my main character, could say have this amount, which means everybody would be the same level. This allows you, I don't know, the freedom, but the ability to know when you level up, everyone's leveling up. When you ding, so to speak, everybody is going to have a level up, even the people back in your base. So it's a nice way to keep track of shit like that for people that don't want to overly complicate things. That's the way to go. I do the opposite. I shut it off where only the people on the party, and again, if it's 6, it's wasteful. Don't do that. Turn it back on, because you might as well have everyone get the same amount of XP, including the people back at the base. If you still want to juice a main character, for example, again, you have the other one on, the one that only if they do the skill check do they get the XP. That will still work. So, team share versus skill share. I know that sounds weird. They're 2 different abilities. The team share, everyone's getting the same amount of XP just for general shit. Skill share is still separate. So I could literally have everybody have like 2,000 XP, let's say, across the board, and have like 1 or 2 main characters because they did like the trickery checks, like the disarming of the traps and opening of the locks, maybe an athletics and or mobility or check every now and again, or one of these knowledge and lore checks every now and again. So again, get yourself a smarty pants character. A bard is one of my favorites, and then get yourself a physically fit character, someone that does athletics, mobility, and trickery on the team, and as a nice duo. They would probably be with that Skillshare ability off, where everybody literally gets XP only if they did the skill. Those two characters will be better, if you will, than everybody else. They will out-level everyone else, even if it's just a little bit. And it doesn't sound like a big deal, but in the early levels, trust me when I say it's a really big deal. Because if you have a team that's awesome, usually by the end of the tutorial, for using Pathfinder Kingmaker as an example, by the end of the tutorial, if you have both those things off, where everyone's getting XP universally across the board. Doesn't matter who did the skill check, doesn't matter how many people are on the party, everyone's the same amount of XP, okay? Which is the default setting. By the end of the tutorial, you start, going to Oleg's. This is not spoiler territory because literally the tutorial is like an hour long. You go through the tutorial, you start going to Oleg's, and by the time you get to Oleg's, or shortly after you get to Oleg's, everyone's level 2, okay? And that may sound cool, and it definitely is. If you shut XP share off, whether we're talking XP share for the team or XP share for skills off, or both, where literally, again, only if you do the skill do you get the XP. Only if you're on the party, which of course your main character always is, you get XP. That's the way I set it up usually. And the reason for that is by the end of the tutorial, usually my main character is level 2 before we even get to Oleg's. And that may not sound like that big of a deal, because, you're level 1, you're level 2. What's the real big difference? Well, just for some frame of reference, it's a better attack bonus for everybody. Doesn't matter, well, unless you, are dipping, I should say, for a purist build. It's a better attack bonus guaranteed. Even if you're a wizard, level 2 wizard gets a +1 to their attack bonus, right, to the BAB. If you are a fighter, you're getting 1 at every damn level. If you are a 3/4 progressor, which is like a typical Magus, like my Elder Scion here, you usually get a BAB increase at level 2, 3, 4, nothing at level 1. So again, that second level does that. The second level also gives you sometimes a free feat. Sometimes it will give you the ability to pick a free feat. Sometimes it'll give you extra spells. So again, this is really, really powerful. And your spells last longer, because usually spells are buffs, for example, are dictated on the caster level. Caster level 1, it's a 1-minute shield spell. 1 minute per caster level, because you're level 1, it's only 1 minute. That's kind of lame sauce. But now you're level 2, that's 2 minutes. That's a pretty decent fight. Now most fights are probably over in a minute, because that's 10 rounds. In the early levels, if you're lasting over 10 rounds in some of your early fights, you're having problems, son. But there's also buffs out there that are 1 round per caster level, and that shit's just fuck that. Really, why even bother? Ooh, I'm buffed for the next 6 seconds. Ring a ding ding, right? So again, you can see the appeal of having at least your main character just a little bit ahead of the curve compared to everybody else. So if that's not your cup of tea, again, leave both of those off, which is the default setting. Turn on, in my opinion, at least the one that says if you do the skill check, you get the XP. And make sure that your main character is someone that is doing at least something. Again, whether it's one of the knowledges or lores, whether it's really good at athletics, mobility, or trickery. Those are the key ones that usually garner XP. It's not to say persuasion doesn't. And again, especially for an Elder Scion where charisma is king, persuasion is very important. At least it was in Kingmaker. So, assuming that's the same here, when you finally get into the higher levels and you start doing those persuasion checks, again, if you're the one that's only getting the XP, those are big XP boosts. Like in Kingmaker, there's a couple times where I did a persuasion check that was like a ridiculously high persuasion check. And I'm like either trying to intimidate or bluff or, persuade them in some way. And I would get a metric shit ton of fucking XP. Now, yeah, by then I'm already level like 15 or something. But again, helps juice me up beyond something else. On this, before we go further, someone had also made a comment, and again, I wanted to address this now. That, I of course went with the traditional Elder Scion. My staple, one of my favorite classes. Anyone that's watched my videos knows my love for this class. Elder Scions, and Magus in particular, are amazing. I love the caster feel. I love the Gish feel. That's not to say that's how I'm going to play the game when the game comes out. What I was thinking of doing is theory crafting before the game comes out, 3 to 4, maybe even 5 builds. Again, we will write them down, submit them to you guys in video format. It'll probably be using Kingmaker, unless I can figure out a way to like force level these characters up so I can test some shit out. But the point is, I could theory craft 4 or 5 different builds of different classes, no less, and submit it to you guys before the game is officially released, or just as it's officially released, and say, hey, which of these builds would you guys like to see a full playthrough of? Now, what I was thinking of, and again, I haven't settled on anything yet, obviously a Magus of some kind. Doesn't even have to be the type of Magus that I always play, the Elder Scion, or even a Sword Saint, because I love those. But there's new classes, and as such, new subclasses of Magus. So I could pick something else. I could, and I'm real tempted on having in the list, a Blood Rager, some kind of Magus. I could be a Arcanist. Those look fun. Those are new to me anyway. I know that they're available with mods on Pathfinder Kingmaker, but again, I kind of dig the feel. I could play a my old Scroll Savant, my Cauldron Bookworm build. Rehash her a little bit for this game because again, new feats, new spells, new races, no less. But she could be fun. I could make myself a good alchemist. I'll always love the alchemists with the ability, the Grenadier, I think is what they call them. The ones with the ability to throw bombs and not hurt anybody, but also mutagen up so you can be like really strong or dexterous, have a lot of con. Again, your choice. I like those builds simply because they're always subcasters. Inquisitor is another fine example of a build that I'd probably put out there for you guys, whether it's one of the old generic Pathfinder Kingmaker Inquisitors, or if it's going to be something from the new subclasses. I have yet to determine. But I like my subcasters, and for those of you that don't know why, Arcanist being an exception to that rule, let's take the 4 caster types out there in the game that people recognize as being full casters: clerics, druids, wizards, and of course sorcerers, which are spontaneous casters but still full casters in their own right. I find early levels, those guys are really hard. Even with the cleric and the druid being pretty badass with the ability to self-heal, buff like crazy, especially the druid. Cleric is more about buffing to me. Druid's more about buffing and that happy middle ground of buffing and attacking with their spells. Whereas wizards and sorcerers are either all about attacking, like flashing the pain damage. They're very hard to level up to get to a good level where you can feel comfortable that they're not going to die at every goddamn encounter. I'm certainly not going to play on the hardest difficulty, but I will play on a hard difficulty, I'm sure, especially after we test it out here. So again, we'll set it for normal difficulty now, which we've done. Well, normal to me anyway. And then we'll do harder difficulty when the game releases, because I find that more interesting. So I want a character that can survive to level like 3 or 4 without too much maintenance, if that makes sense. The other thing about full casters that I'm not a fan of is the bloat of spells, the ridiculous spells that are just like this encounter I have a spell for and it will end this entire fight. Poof. It's cool. I mean, it's fun, don't get me wrong, but it's one of those where it's like, wow, there's like no thinking behind it at all. It's like, point click and that thing dies. It's almost like playing the Kineticist, one of the classes that I hate the most, because they are, if you build them right, of course, way OP. They get to a point where they're just like, nothing's going to stop these guys. They're just going to straight up murder everything in the map. And for some people, that's fun. For me, that's not. There's no challenge to it anymore. I mean, the challenge is the build itself, and maybe surviving that first alpha strike, where you get surprised in a round. Other than that, if you're aware of your surroundings, from what I understand, again, Kineticist can just pwn anything, and fuck that shit. So I'm not a fan of the super duper classes like that. I do like the subclasses that includes even the super subclasses like the Blood Rager, which can only cast level 1, 2, 3, or 4 spells, for example. I love the fact that Inquisitors are spontaneous casters, same with the Elder Scion. So I'm a big fan of having a limited amount of spells. Having said that, that is my challenge. Like, what spells do I need? What spells sound good and what spells really sew up the build. Check all the boxes. Fill all the cracks, for example. So those are the types that I look for. And it's not to say that I don't like playing a rogue or a fighter every now and again. An Eldritch Scoundrel, another subcaster class that's part of the rogue class, is fun to me too. Again, I can see Octavia being the arcane trickster, wizard, rogue hybrid that she was. She was amazing, but again, she gets to the point where she just is literally owning everything on the map, and it's like, why do I even bring the team when it's like me and Octavia and maybe a healer is good enough? Well, sure, that's always a concern. So the point is I will put that out there when we actually officially play the game. Here's my suggestions for builds. And again, I have yet to determine, am I going to, I'll show you the build or what I'm thinking of making. I'm not going to let you guys dictate everything. We make sure he's a dex base point spread of this, strength of that, charisma or intelligence or whatever of this. No, there's no fun if you guys are picking all my choices. I'll tell you what race I was thinking of playing. The alignment maybe will be something that I will let you guys choose. I've yet to decide that though officially, and the reason for that is no offense to you guys, but routinely I get do an evil playthrough. I don't want to do an evil playthrough, dude. We're already fighting fucking demons, man. Why do I want to be another dickhead in the kingdom? So, yeah, I'll do an evil playthrough for myself, just because I want to see what the game has to offer for someone that's playing as a lawful evil or chaotic evil, murder hobo son of a bitch. But routinely for me, it's chaotic good. Lawful good if there's a reason. A monk dip, for example. But by and large, chaotic good is usually my go-to. I'm not about the patriarchy and the kingdom rules. No, fuck you. I'm all about me. That's what chaotic good is usually all about, in my estimation, anyway. But I may, like I said, I may open that up to you guys to decide. I may, give you options for builds based on, again, here's a strength-based build, Blood Rager. Here's a dex-based build, what's the one I just saw the other day? Damn it, it's a dancing Magus build. I know that sounds weird as hell, but there's a Magus subclass that's a dancer. Which seems weird, it seems bad, but they get really bad armor, and again, that sounds all horrible. But they can wear light armor still, so again, a dex-based build for those makes sense, and they get some really interesting armor class upgrades and the ability to activate, instead of buffing their weapon, they buff themselves in a way that allows them to dance, if you will, through combat, which means avoiding attacks of opportunity, and there's some serious fun that can be had with that kind of class. So again, I'll give you options that are, builds that are like, oh, you want to see a strength-based build? These are the 2 or 3 that I was thinking of. You want a dex-based build? These are the 2 or 3 that I was thinking of, and let you guys decide. Okay, now I hope that's clear, but that's kind of the direction that we're going. I'm not going to let you pick my weapon. I'm not going to let you pick my gear. That's on me. I know enough about that shit to do what I want to do. Yeah, suggestions are always appreciated. Not to say I'm not appreciative of you guys' help, but I don't want spoilers thrown my way. Hey, if you get to the 5th chapter or whatever, this badass blah blah weapon is going to be there. You should totally make a sword saint using that. Nah, I'm not doing that shit. If I make a sword saint, which is probably not going to happen, but if I made a sword saint to play the game, you better figure I'm going to go with the staples. It's going to be something with high crit range. So your scimitar, your falchion, I think is a good one. Or is it the falcata? I always get those backwards. The rapier, something that has that crit range of, or kukris, that has that crit range of 18, 19, 20. And we will make a build centered on critting like a motherfucker, because that's what it's good at. So again, I may screw myself on stuff like this. One of the reasons I'm probably not going to play a sword saint the first time through, because again, without knowing that you're going to find a cool weapon that's that range. Remember, you have to pick your weapon, and that's the weapon you got, baby. So that's a tough road to hoe. So why sword saints were all fun are usually best left to the second playthrough, because otherwise you risk the problem that I had in Pathfinder Kingmaker, where the first sword saint, well, the first real sword saint that I made, once I kind of got a feel for what they had to offer, was what we called S-Stock Saint. I still have videos, I believe, of him up on the build, on the channel. But S-Stock Saint was a problem because there wasn't very many S-Stocks in the game. And the downside for me was I was going to forums, and I wasn't going to Pathfinder Kingmaker forums from the game. I was going for Pathfinder the tabletop forums and finding out, hey, what about these Sword Saints? What do you guys do? And everybody was screaming the same thing: S-Stock, S-Stock, S-Stock. And the reason for it was it's the highest crit range, the 18, 19, 20, which again checked the boxes. It was weapon finessable, which checked the boxes, which was weird because I want to say S-Stocks were two-handers. But the third part was it did more damage. No, but let's be clear on that damage. From a different weapon perspective, a rapier does 1 to 6 points of damage. It's a generic rapier, okay? 1d6 is your die roll. So on average, you take the lower one, the 1, the higher damage, the 6, add them together. That's 7, divide by 2, that's your average, okay? So it's a 3.5 average damage, okay? The S-Stock is a 2d4 weapon, so 2 dice roll, both of them 4-sided die. So it's 2 is the minimum, the maximum is 8. Add those together, that's 10. Divide by 2, that's 5. Oh, look at all that extra damage. 5 compared to 3.5, certainly you see the appeal. Yeah, that's not that big of a difference. I mean, 1.5 early games, yeah, I mean, you're probably killing at least a few guys more quicker than you would if you were using the rapier, sure. But how many rapiers were in the game? A metric shit ton. How many S-Stocks were in the game that were of any real value? It was like 6. You know, like, and most of those were like the generic +4, +5 ones. So it took forever to find a decent S-Stock, and you're just like, fuck this shit. I mean, really, the rapier would have been the way to go. Kukris even had like a massive list. Same with scimitars, and scimitars were made for Magi in that game. So, again, that was my mistake, and Sword Saints fall into that trap. So piece of advice to anyone that wants to play a Sword Saint that never has in the game, you might want to do a little bit of research. Or, again, stick with the staples: the rapier, the scimitar, the kukri. Those 3 are usually money, and they're usually well represented because everyone knows Magi love high crit weapons. So that's going on. Let's actually get into the game. I mean, I know this is probably boring the shit out of you guys. Let's actually get into doing something. Get these other goopers leveled up. And maybe I can get this goddamn dexterity healed. Because I'm getting real tired of being a dex of 12. I'll show the way. Where are we official? Well, let's actually look at our journal first. New acquaintances are willing to help and will lead the way to the shield maze. But first, a visit to the village is in order. Yeah, we never finished that. But it does look like we got a completion. So, sample the festival drink, throw the dart at the target. And we never got to hit the mannequin. And, spoiler here, I know this is early, so it doesn't matter. But I did try to do all 3 of these on a replay, just to see if I could get them. I thought, well, maybe the festival drink was what triggered the fight. I got 2 of the 3 things done in the fight start. And so I did like the dart and the mannequin. And then the fight started again. So I never seem to get all 3. Now, maybe there's an order. Maybe someone can tell us what the order is. Because, again, that's early enough that I don't consider that spoiler territory. But we did get our green check mark. Even though it doesn't look like a check mark, it looks like a goddamn V. So I don't know what that's about. But it looks completed. There's no big red X. Is usually the indicator that you fuck something up. So that's fine. So it doesn't look like there's anything to do other than explore. Come on, yo. Okay, we got our little puddles. We got Mongrel. What up, yo? Don't mind us. We're just coming through. Oh, cutscene. Your first impression of the Mongrel village is of a squalid dump with odors to match. Unblinking, glowing eyes watch you from the gloom, and deformed shadows slope between the huts. You see mongrels gutting white, eyeless fish, while others are repairing fishing nets. All the signs of normal village life, but tense expectation hangs in the air. I didn't hear him talk at all. A heavy-set H-mongrel slowly shuffles his way toward you. The hair on his head grows in limp, wispy strands, and his face has a distinctly rat-like appearance with pronounced teeth, and you hear a rattling sound in his chest with every breath he takes. Ah, he's an e-cigarette smoker. One of his eyes is white, fully scarred by cataracts, while the other gleams with moisture. Mmm, classy. Uplanders and times are upon us indeed. 1500 XP, and that should be split evenly amongst the people on the team. So that means I probably got to level up here. So we found the angel's sword, and we found the one who can wield it. Oh, Jesus. Before I had a chance to not tell this guy, this doofus opened up his mouth. Then he had a vision, and now the angel's sword is somehow inside him. Gather the tribe. Anyone who can hold a weapon, the young ones are still alive. We can go save them. Soul raises his hand with ragged, broken fingernails. Ah, Lon. Always dreaming, always talking. You're too hasty for your own good. It's going to get you in trouble. Soul eyes you up and down. An uplander with the light of heaven? That's too good for us. Our kind don't have good things happen. There's always a catch, Lane. Trust people because he likes to believe. Isn't that right, Lane? I am the chief. I don't work on faith. Show the light. Oh, this is where we have a chance to not show it. Basically, make Lane look like a fucking fool. So that's not cool. One dog stares at you intently like a cat watching a bird and shakes her head in warning. Lawful angel mythic path reveal the light of heaven. Okay, so now again, this I believe, if I understand this correctly, angel mythic path reveal the light of heaven. This literally lets the game know that we either want to be angel, which I don't think that's what this means, or they want to keep it as an option. We already picked it once, so I don't think you have to pick it more than once to unlock it, so to speak. To actually become the angel mythic path, from what I hear, there will be a definitive option later where it will open up all the different paths that you have unlocked and say, here you go, which one are you going to be? And angel is already unlocked for us as far as I can understand. We found the sword, that's it. We did the angel mythic path once, and once you click on that, I believe that's all it takes. I could be wrong on that, we will see, but I don't have to do this. And again, chaotic. Lon is mistaken. We didn't find the sword. Well, first let's go here. Is there someone else from the surface here? Soul points off to the side. There he is, hale and hearty and prim as a peacock. Just like me, Soul laughs. McCookie returns to business. It's not good. Too many uplanders. It's not good. It's not right. What are you up to here? You're not one of us. We're not your kind. When the time comes, we'll come to you, not you to us. Fuck it. I don't want Lon to be an ass. Lawful, angel, mythic path. Reveal the light of heaven. Lon speaks the truth. Whoa, look at my sword. And feathers for some reason. The heavenly flame flares to life at your unspoken command. Bright, pure, dancing with multicolored sparks like a sunbeam passing through stained glass. The mongrels abandon their tasks and stare, transfixed. The light is bright but not blinding. It is warm, but its warmth is soul deep. You performed a lawful action. This, by the way, is something else that you guys need to know about the game that's never played it. You will get the options of lawful, chaotic, neutral, good, or evil in your dialogue. You will shift towards an alignment. If you started off true neutral, the more lawful things you do, eventually you'll become lawful neutral. The more good things you do, you become true neutral good, for example. This is both good and bad. It's good in that it adds some flavor to the game, but it's also bad in that, like, if you're like playing a monk, you have to remain lawful. That doesn't mean you can't do anything chaotic or neutral in that spectrum of things. Just don't do it too many times. Same with other classes where like maybe being chaotic or evil is a requirement and a necessity for your class. Be real clear on this. Do not screw yourself out of progressing in your class, like Paladin, for example, because you're not lawful good enough. Okay, there's ways around it, and in Kingmaker, they offered, I want to say there was a spell of atonement or some shit like that, where you could buy it for some decent coin, and if your alignment started getting too out of whack, you cast the scroll, and then anyone could cast it. You cast the scroll as an atonement, and poof, your alignment reset back to the default setting at level 1. So you go back to straight up lawful good, or chaotic evil, or true neutral, or whatever the hell you were. So know that that was a thing that may still be a thing in this game. Hopefully it is, because that was an annoying feature of the game, not being able to atone. They added that after the fact. Let's see. Continue. Chief Soul is silent for a while. Tears are streaming down his wide, pale face, but the old man doesn't even care to wipe them away. So it's true. The angel did not forsake us. No, he came. Back from the dead he came to save our children. Lon gives you a nod of thanks. The scaled half of his face is indifferent, but the human half is visibly relieved, as if he wasn't sure all this time that you would support him. Yeah, Ma, I'm on your side, buddy. The cat spider lady creeps me out. One that kisses at you like an angry cat. See these fishermen and these hunters, these husks of men and women, their blood will be on your hands. Shut up. We have the blessing of the angels. We will survive and help the young tribesmen. Idiot. You see a bright light, and now you think even a maze is no match for you. Damn right. I'm level 2, bitch. You always think the worst when you... We're not on our own in this anymore. We've got allies. Well, a couple at least. But one good fighter is worth 10 bad ones. We have the right of it, land. But we're neithers. We're going to wait. We're neithers. What? Neithers. Oh, undergrounders. Yes, yeah. We're going to wait. I sent a message to the shaman, all the tribes. It will take time, yes, but they will all come. They will all come for the light. Wait, Lon. Wait, uplanders. Rest a while in our hutch. Our home is your home. Lon sighs. All right, Chief. Understood. Let's hope that a few hours isn't the difference between life and death for those kids. They asked me what took us so long. I'll tell them it was your decision. That's kind of a dick move. But the Chief is probably right. We probably should rest, get our spells back, get our health back, all that fun jazz. One dog only grits her teeth in silence. She's busy. I don't like her. Spider cats are gross. Combat victories and other achievements give your character experience points. After accumulating a certain amount of experience, the character gains a new level. So this must be, if we had set XP share to go for everybody and no splitting of XP for people that did the skill check, like they set the default settings, this would probably be the end of what we would call the tutorial section of the game, where everyone would now ding and be level 2, because they're giving you the level advancement advice. Notice there's 2. When the character gains a level, they get new feats, learn new spells and skills, and increase ability scores. The exact improvements the character gets depends on their classes and the total number of their levels. Yep. You'll notice that she leveled
Rely on me,
because she was awful close. So now this is our human Paladin, if I remember correctly. Martial class, yeah, Paladin. Okay, so she's going to get now level 2, which means she finally gets her lay on hands. She gets her divine grace, which means a bonus equal to her charisma bonus to all her saving throws. So this +2 will go down here, here, and here. That's a really nice upgrade for her. Assuming we keep her Paladin, and of course we will. Just as again, since we're here, I can show you a quick breakdown of the classes I was thinking of playing. Alchemist, like I said, the Grenadier, the Arcanist. I haven't decided on which of these I give a shit about, but it probably may just be a generic Arcanist. Bard, Flame Dancer. Those ones are badass. And then, no, that's not the Magus Dancer I was thinking of. This is a different one. And the reason for the Bard, for those of you wondering why I was thinking of playing a Flame Dancer, was I know... Let's just click it and show you. The Flame Dancer loses some things. That's what these little X's mean. So that compared to a traditional Bard, they don't get this, they don't get this, they don't get any of these weird things. They do, however, get these things that are the pluses. So it's a Fire Dance, which allows her and the teammates near her to be resistant to fire. Not that big of a deal. We get our different Bard talents. We still get our Jack of all trades. We still get our well-versed, so we get extra skills in our lores and our knowledges. But we also get this, the ability to add a first, second, and third level fire spell to our Bard spells that are known. Remember, Bards are spontaneous casters, and this is kind of unique in that they don't have a lot of offensive spells. There's some, but not many. So adding things like Burning Hands, Burning Arc, and Fireball, respectively, are really, really nice to add to flesh out your character. And the other reason for wanting to play the Flame Dancer is if I do 10 levels, I can do another 10 levels of Dragon Disciple. Bards have that ability. they are considered arcane casters. The other reason for playing a bard in general is bards also have healing spells. So if you want to have a character that can heal themselves and the team, even if it's just a little bit of spot healing to keep people alive, bards are awesome. They're spontaneous casters, which means if you pick any healing spells, the healing is just waiting for you. You don't have to use the spells for healing. You can use it to attack, you can use it to buff, whatever. But if healing is needed and you have picked the Cure Light Wounds as one of your spell choices, which of course you should do, then boom, you have the ability to heal yourself and your team. That's why I like the bards. Again, spontaneous caster and subcaster. They can only get to level 6 spells, which is fine. Other classes I was thinking of playing, Blood Rager. Haven't decided which one of these I'd play. I'm not going to play any of the riding classes, I can tell you that right now. For those of you that want someone to do that, this is not this channel. And it's not that I don't think it would be interesting. I got a feeling that we're going to have a teammate that shows up at some point that's going to be a rider of some kind. Whether we're talking a Cavalier or Blood Rider, like the Blood Raider here, or someone else even, then that's fine. We can toy around with it then. But it's not me. I'm not one to mount a horse and run into battle and silly shit like that. That's just something else. So I'll probably pick either the Spell Eater, might be interesting, or Steel Blood, so you can be armored up the yin yang, be a really tough attacking son of a bitch, feel like a fighter but not be a fighter, and rage like crazy, and have some spells besides. Steel Bloods can be pretty fun. I was thinking of possibly looking into this Dragonair Scion, because I have no idea what the hell these guys are about, or the Mutation Warrior for that matter. I could go Inquisitor. Tactical Leader could be of value. Monster Tactician, Sacred Huntsmaster, where you get the pet. Those could be of interest. But Faith Hunter, again, a new one, would be interesting to me. And again, I like Inquisitors because, again, the same reason I like the Bards. They're self-healing. They have spontaneous casting. In this case, the Inquisitors have cleric spells instead of the arcane casting of the Bard. No two kineticists. Magus had the Spell Dancer, but you had to be an elf for the Spell Dancer. That was the one I was thinking of. I could just as easily convince myself of going Armored Battle Mage, that's new, or a Hexcrafter, which is also new. So if you guys want to see something like that, again, that might be one of the builds that I plunk out for you. Oracle is probably about the only full caster that I actually kind of enjoy playing. Again, sorcerers are alright, I suppose. Druids and clerics are good, I just don't like playing them. But oracles, again, are another spontaneous caster that they feel like a cleric, but they're not a cleric. So I kind of dig the oracles. Paladins, of course, are fun. Rangers are fun. Rogue, I'd only probably play the Eldritch Scoundrel, maybe the Sylvan Trickster, because that looks new and interesting. Shaman, I think, are full casters, so I think I'd pass on them. Skalds, they're like bards, but battle bards, so those might be interesting. And Demon Dancer sounds badass. And for some reason, they've added a lot of scions to this game. I'm not sure what that's about. War Priest is another subcaster. This would be one that I could get behind. Cult Leader, I've recently posted a build for Cult Leader, but again, that's on Kingmaker, and again, that's using mods, so it may differ. But this would be a fun one for me to rehash that build and see what's capable of doing in this game. And again, Witch and Wizards are all full casters. The only wizard that, again, I might consider playing again is that Scroll Savant. And the reason for that isn't because of what it offers, because their Scroll Savantness is pretty fucking badass. Anyway, let's make our Paladin. She gets 3 points to burn. She's got a Knowledge World, Mobility. Persuasion, it's a weird one for her to have, but I'm assuming mobility is all about her not provoking attacks of opportunity in combat. I don't care about that for her. However, if we do strength, again, you can see she's extremely penalized. She has a nice strength and a nice bonus here besides, but she don't have a green check mark. For a paladin, that seems weird. But she also has banded armor and heavy shield, which is really penalizing her. So again, that's kind of silly to do that until you start getting some, what do you call it, mithril gear, for example, make it lighter, or spells that can make this penalty go away. It's weird that she has trickery. I'm not sure what that's about. It might be a background thing for her. Same with stealth. It seems odd. I think we just keep going with Knowledge World. Low Religion, she is wise-ish. And Persuasion makes sense for her. So let's do that. Alright. She got Lay on Hands, Others, and Self, allowing her to do that stuff. Again, her saving throws have increased, as you can see here, Divine Grace. So again, investing in charisma, even if it's one more point, getting it to 16 would be of value. I still think that these guys cast their spells based on their wisdom, though. So if you wanted to get to level 4 paladin spells, which is the highest they can go, you need to have a wisdom of 14. Notice how it's 13, so it's a hop, skip, and a jump away, and same with their dex being 13. So you have, if the game progresses like it did in Kingmaker, you'll have 5 points to spend eventually on your attributes. That's at level 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. So an odd number. Notice how we have an odd number of things to buff: charisma, wisdom, and dex. So that's 3 points burnt right there, assuming you want them to be even numbers, and you usually do. And that leaves 2 more points tantalizing free to put in something like strength or con. So that's something we should probably think about. I'd probably go charisma first to 16, dex to 14 just to get that extra armor and reflex bonus, and then wisdom up to 14 by level 12, because that, again, those level 4 spells would be useful. But that's less of a concern, because usually you get gear that buffs your stats that you give a shit about, like your hats and your belts and whatever, that increase your strength and your wisdom and whatever. So this being 13 doesn't bother me per se, but it's rare to find gear, I find, at least in Kingmaker, where you get an odd number. So like a belt of strength plus 3 doesn't exist. It's usually plus 2, plus 4, plus 6, plus 8. So having it be an odd number is definitely weird. There's exceptions to the rules. There's reasons, for example, to have a dexterity of 13 only, because it will unlock feats. Same with strength. Like if you want power attack, I want to say you have to have a strength of 13 or 15, something like that. Same with dex. If you want dodge as a feat, you need a dex minimum of 13. So there's reasons to end on an odd number and say, fuck it, I'm just going to take the 13 and call it quits at that point. But since, again, we have 5 points, I think, to burn, and we have 1, 2, 3 odd things to upgrade, that, again, leaves us tantalizingly free to get something else to do. Like, again, if I get 16 charisma is good, 18 would be better. I think we can all agree. So, again, that's better saves, better paladin abilities, because they're usually keying off of charisma, with the exception of the spells. Hell, I could get the wisdom up to a 14. I could take it up to a 16, giving me like probably another free stam spell at like level 3 or some shit. So there's some other shit we could do here, but the point still is the same. Is there's reasons that this is an okay point spread, and the reason that matters, and hopefully the devs did that on purpose. And I say that because if you look at Pathfinder Kingmaker, the teammates that you have, their point spreads were all over the fucking place. I mean, it's shit that made no goddamn sense. Like we had a former paladin that she clearly wasn't a paladin anymore. She became just a straight up fighter, a tower shield specialist. And Valerie was her name. Val was like a strength of 14, con of like 19, something ridiculously high, which made no fucking sense. And she had like a okay dexterity besides. She wasn't very bright. I remember like her intelligence was like 8 or some shit like that. And she was charismatic, but she's a fighter. Who gives a shit that she's charismatic? I mean, it's one of those where it's like, what? But clearly they were going for a theme. She used to be a paladin, or was paladin in training, I should say. She was never a paladin. She was a paladin in training, and she said, fuck the deity and all the paladin people, and went her own route. But her skills were, her attributes were all over the fucking place, and she was a very poor fighter for the longest time. You really had to invest in her heavily to get her to a solid place. So it's nice to see that they gave you decent characters this time around, is my point. Okay, so let's
I will help where I can.
I'm going to put our lay on hands other over here, and lay on hands for self over here. Eventually, she'll have the ability to cure things like ability damage with that, or fatigue. So again, that's kind of nice. As far as spells, does she have spells yet? No, not at level 2. Not surprising. Always worth checking. Alright, so let's see. We got some explorations to do. Hey, let's rob these mongrels. That's my stuff. Oh, from there, I thought that was someone in another body on the ground. Oh, this is like the shittiest of fucking tribes, man. There's like water all around, and they're like living on a cliff. And you may wonder why I'm searching through the area quite so intently. It's because you never know when a perception check is going to go off. Mongrel. What up, yo? Yeah, weird ass weapons. Stealing your shit. On that, and we haven't done an inventory check in a while. What do we have? Let's arrange by price in descending order. Caustic mold. Potions or scratch gold. I love that. Again, that's going to be so much fun. I got a masterwork, comma. It's weird that the... Oh, there it is. I'll say it didn't look like I had the dagger in my hand. We need to find someone to buy our stuff. Probably need to talk to the chief, right? So he's himself around to face you. I want to ask you a few questions. Aye, tell me about mongrels. Well, we're the Crusaders under the ground, the children of the first Crusaders. Garbage man is here, apparently. The world wound touches everyone. Look at us. We are all marked by it. The Uplanders didn't like it. They drove us down here, but we have a secret. Sol's one good eye twinkles slyly. We're waiting. When the shield mage falls, that is the end of our lives down here. We will go up to the surface to fight. Until then, we don't. Our place is here. But now we have all seen the light of heaven. Now we can go. What other signs do we need? We must fulfill our Crusader's duty. Tell me about Windog. Windog, our beauty, our huntress, who is more skilled than Windog. There are braver fighters. Yes, but brave doesn't mean skilled. Windog is the only one to go into the maze and come out again. The others listen to everything she has to say. Tell me about Lon. Lon. Sol makes a vague gesture. He's not one of us. No, not one of us. His father was one of us. But his mother, no. They took him up to the surface. They ruined him as a child. Then they came back, but he wasn't one of us. A good hunter, yes, but he feels trapped down here. But he can't go up there either. It's not safe. He wouldn't last a gong. I guess that's a day. Thanks for your answers. What are you going to do now? The messenger is swift. He'll rally the tribes, all of them. The angel's light is with us, so we will follow it. Now go. Rest, eat. Can I just clarify, are we uplanders, prisoners, or guests here? Have you drawn weapons against us? No. Have you killed us? No. Have you stolen our food? Yes. No, they don't know that. No. Guess. I want to look around here. Alright, let's see. So... Okay, so it looks like we need to rest, which means we need to do the camping icon. Nope, apparently not. What else do we got? How do we get to there? Oh, cutscene, that's how. Horseborn, human face at last. And there I thought I'd be gazing upon the twisted vistas of these troglodytes for the rest of my life. Well, a prick. Okay. An elderly man in expensive but not ostentatious clothes approached you. His face is peppered with several healed cuts and bruises and twisted in an expression of extreme discontent. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Horgus Worm. Yes, that Worm. You no doubt have heard of me if you've spent any time at all in the city. I have a business proposition for you. Your name tells me nothing. Who are you? How'd you end up here? For a moment, Horgus' eyes focus on Camellia before his gaze returns to you. Oh, they know each other, huh? Like everyone else, down I went when that accursed beetle cleaved the ground in twain beneath our feet. I'm lucky I didn't break my neck in the fall. And I'm doubly lucky that I didn't encounter any subterranean cockroaches on my blind wanderings, and instead came across hunters from the settlement. Although I must say that when I first glimpsed their physiognomies, my life flashed before my very eyes. But they turned out to be decent chaps, frightening to look at, but able to keep a bargain. You don't speak very kindly of the mongrels, even though they saved your life. Kind words are for people with hours to fritter away on pleasantries. Horgus Worm speaks his mind, and he pays for services rendered not with kind words, but with hard coin. I gave the mongrels my dagger in exchange for their help. Its handle is worth more than their whole village. What kind of business proposition? I don't know what is happening on the surface right now, but I am determined to find out. You have no intention of seeing out the rest of your days in this village, I suspect. We must find a route back to the surface, to the city, if there is anything left of it. You look like one of those who's equally good in swinging a blade and casting a spell. I am more than happy about that. A universal specialist must make a good companion on our way to the surface. You are strong. It will be no doubt be no trouble to you, but I, alas, am not as fit as I once was. I can't go crawling about through caves playing at scouts. My proposition is simple. Lead me back to the city and I shall pay you 1,000 gold coins. Money, 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 money! Money! Suggest we help this man. It is good to have friends among the Canabras elite. Yeah, they know each other. Ooh, diplomacy check. And we have a good chance to do it. 2,000 gold. Failed. Ah, you suck. We rolled a 2. Come on, man. Why not 10,000 or 100? No, let's not be miserly. Let's say 1,000,000. My initial offer was a king's ransom. You've likely never seen so much gold in all your life. It's non-negotiable. I said 1,000 as my final offer. That deal. Splendid. In the meantime, I shall sit here in the village. Your name tells me nothing. Who are you? You truly... Oh, yeah, that's our new quest. You truly are freshly arrived in the city, then. You couldn't have picked a worse time, that's for certain. Only just arrived and the city has been razed to rubble. You should know that you are looking at one of the richest and most distinguished men in Canabras, and he's only willing to pay $1,000 to get his life back, huh? I may not be as well known as certain swaggering loudmouths who spend their lives traipsing from one ball to the next, but the Worm Trading Company is one of the pillars of the city. I'll have you know. Did you see the marquees in the square? I paid for those. Tried any festival delicacies? You have Horgus Worm to thank for that. Okay. Thanks, Worm. Go on, go on. Don't forget our agreement. When you find the way out, be sure to tell me. Okay. Alright. What we got over here? Looks like we got a path over this way. Oh, okay, the village opens up a little bit then. Cool, cool. Hey, you guys left my stuff over here. That was so nice of you to keep that. Is this farming? They're farming the shrooms, man. Get that shroom. Yeah. Bunch of druggies. Alright, where the hell are we going? Good lord, this town is actually bigger than I thought. Stealing your food.
I can handle it.
Hey, mongrel. Nice fishing pole. Nice. Horus Worm, Anevia. Like you guys know. Vendor! Yeah, vendors allow you to buy weapons, armor, spells, scrolls, potions, and other things. Dira can buy the trophies you brought from the caves and sell something you might need in the adventure that awaits you. For example, potions to cure light wounds. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Alright, let's steal her shit first. That was mine.
And off we go.
You there, a tall woman with a face deformed by an enormous swelling smile probably at you, showing off her double row of small, sharp teeth. Cool. You from the surface, you must be tough to make it all the way here. Never thought I'd see the day. Call me Dira, let's trade. Hopefully they get portraits of these people. Who are you? People around here call me all sorts. Dira the Hoarder, Dira the Coin, Dira the City Girl. Like that's a bad thing. Haha, I trawl the caves, picking up all kinds of things from the surface that wash down here through your sewers. I trade all kinds of junk for food and clothes, but I only part with my best finds for coins. Got no coins? Forget that what money is. Well, then I have no use for you. If you want city goods, you need to pay for them with gold, like city folk. Why are you so eager to trade with me? Because everybody here are just like animals now. Dira yells with surprising anger before being overcome with coughing. Wiping her mouth, she continues, our forefathers living in the city, like you, our people love to reminisce about armies, knights, crusades, but I couldn't care less about the savages with clubs can't fight a war. Only civilized folk can buy and sell. They've all forgotten what trading is. They've forgotten the value of gold. They barter hides for plant roots and go on about the feats of the crusaders. Who cares about them? I don't need help remembering. I have coins and I have things to sell. Now let's trade like proper city folk. Let's trade. I don't want that. Offer. Okay, so this is a reasonably same menu as what we had before. So in Pathfinder, they added this ability where you could like select masterwork items to always be shoved over. That's what basically this is telling you here. I'm going to keep the masterwork for now. If it's non-magical, you can collect that, say offer, and close that back down. And you can see we've given them all this stuff. I do want to keep the torches. I don't think I need any of these weapons. Yeah. And we've given them all the junk stuff. Notice the stuff that can be used for stuff. The ability to scribe, make potions and whatnot. Those are all being kept. Stuff that can be used for food and whatnot are being kept. And again, I'm cool with that. So let's actually sort this. That. Say deal. So now we got $233, which means we can look under here. Now notice that we can sort this by price in ascending order, so we can look for things cheaply and say, is there something in here that I want? So this would be where if you were playing a sword saint, remember you had your weapons stolen from you at the beginning. Maybe you were a sword saint that specialized with, say, short swords. Now you have the ability to buy one. Doesn't look like she has a lot of things. Cold iron, masterwork, great axe on the other hand. $800 though. Fuck you, lady. Well, it's cold iron. That's useful. Cold iron is useful for killing the demons. Armor, leather, thick pads, enchantment +1. Look at you with your fucking kick-ass shit. You can't afford it. But let's read. Whenever an enemy scores a critical hit against the wearer of this +1 pad armor, they must pass a fortitude saving throw, DC 16, or become unable to attack with a weapon for 1 round. Ah, so it sticks into the thick pads. Very cool. Accessories, braces of armor, +1. Yeah. Scrolls, potions, and all that jazz. Scroll of heroism. Quiver of cold iron ammunition. Look at that. What do you say? The owner of this quiver can use it to shoot 20 units of cold iron ammunition. Cold iron ammunition is known for its effectiveness against demons and fey creatures. Demons being the key word here. It is forged at a lower temperature to preserve its delicate properties. What? Definitely buying at least one of those. What else we got in here? Anything of note? This is mostly the stuff that we just got rid of. This magical substance is necessary to clean and safely consume any food in the corrupted wastelands of the world. Oh my. I'm going to take some of that. That might be useful. Mutated fish. We have meat, edible moss, some butter. I'm going to take that mutated fish. Anything else food related? No. That's just in case I need that to rest. I don't know the mechanics yet. As time passes, your character becomes tired and act less effectively. You can see this by the fatigue and exhaustion. That's this little icon right here. This is why they need regular rest. During the rest, all characters restore a portion of their lost HP. Spellcasters also replenish their spells. The rest also helps you get rid of some of the negative conditions. Resting takes at least 8 hours. And that's probably what that little icon is over here, is to click on the hunt to rest. Yeah. Messenger return. The tribes are gathering at the entrance to the maze. Our people have already gone there. I've already warned Anivia and that old guy who won't even acknowledge me. Take your time. There's no rush. The most important people always show up late. Mom looks around. Everything's going to plan, but one thing's bothering me. One dog's gone. Oh, you dumb bitch. All the tribes, the whole army is marching on the maze then? My mongrel standards, yes, but don't be too disappointed when you see the reality. There aren't many of us who can hold a weapon, and fewer still who can do any damage with one. What do you think happened to Windog? Lon shakes his head. I don't know. She was always stubborn. Maybe she decided she could do it all on her own. I hope she comes back. We'll struggle without her, and she'll struggle without us, no matter how hard she tried to deny it. What about Anivia and Horgus? Are we just going to leave them here? Once we've cleared the maze, the way ahead will be safe. Anivia's in no state to fight, and that Horgus guy, he doesn't look like he'll shift an inch unless we roll out a red carpet all the way to the exit. Still, are you sure the maze is the only way to the surface? There was another passage, the one I used with my dad when we left and then came back, the chief back then. He found it and filled it in to stop anybody else going against the ancestors' wishes. And what the ancestors wanted was for everyone to go through the maze. I'm not sure of anything right now. We don't have a choice. We can only go forward. There were other passages, but they're far from here, and with all these earthquakes, who knows what condition they're in now. So our best bet is the maze. If it doesn't lead anywhere, then we can consider our next move. Let's go. There's no time to lose. Let's go. But before we do, thank you. I was so happy. I forgot to thank you before. But you've done something no one else has in a long time. You've given the mongrels hope. It's like we're starting to believe that we're worth something. Now that we have the power of the angels on our side. Land's face grows sullen. It won't change anything, of course. But at least you'll help us save the young ones. Hopefully. Let's go through the main gate. The straight road is the shortest. To our darkness. Looks like we have... Pause the game. A quest. Family secrets. Go to the path of the surface. Devour the darkness. Find other survivors. Rest in the hut. Did that. Storm the shield maze. Long bleed is the quickest way. Alright. Looks like that's the next part. Quick check on some stuff here. How did I... Yeah, I got like 1 point back. I was at dex at 12. Now I'm at 13. Remember, I'm missing 3 points still. See the ability damage -3. So I'm kind of boned here. It's okay. These characters, let's take a quick peek at spell books. She has none. I have those 3 spells. And again, 3 uses a day of any of them. She has picked Cure Light Wounds, Protection from Alignment, and a large person. And he can't cast spells. Alright. Oh, hey, that's mine. Totally forgot that. Thank you. Yep, that's gotta be your exit. Exactly. Scope out the area. Remember, you can rotate your camera by grabbing your mouse wheel button, holding it down, and then going left or right. Cool. That's the exit.
I'll show the way.
I'm not going to go there just yet. I feel like we're forgetting something. Hunt for Krasnag. I think we actually hit everything. I don't think we can get down in there. That's water. Yeah. All right.
Here we go.
Let's do that thing. And we will do that in the next episode. Let's see. So I'll do a quick save here, fellas. I don't want to try to get into too much spoiler territory. Like I said before, I'm trying my best to make sure that you guys don't get spoiled by too much of the story. We're already at level 2, cruising right up there to level 3 before too long. I'm hoping to get to level 4 or 5 before I really get to what I feel like is heavy spoilers. So we might get through the maze, and we might not. Know that if the video stops, I'll probably put out a small video just letting you know, hey, we're not going to go any farther because I hit spoiler territory. And I'm not uploading that video because of spoiler territory. But after that, like I said, we'll start theory crafting or going back and revisiting my old Pathfinder Kingmaker builds. Seeing what fits, what might be useful for us. The reason I say that is because, again, there are new feats. There are new spells, not a bunch. There's new races. That's biggie. And I'll probably have to re-roll characters to get a feel for what those guys have to offer. But until I can either find a way to power level characters in this game so we can do more than just theory crafting, we will probably just revisit Pathfinder Kingmaker builds, because people still want to see those anyway, and know that many can be imported, so to speak, to this game, because all the feats seem to be the same, and then some. Same with spells. But again, know that will change, and the reason that will change is because another spell might be, oh, that spell's way better, or this feat would be something you definitely want to have that we didn't have in Kingmaker. This race, this class, this whatever. So again, a lot of that theory crafting will be theories until we can actually make a level 20 character in this game. But with that, my name is Brother Me. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I know it wasn't very exciting today, but we did make progress, and I am curious to see what this maze has to offer. But with that, I'll see you guys soon. Bye now.